I was having a conversation with someone whose name I will not disclose, and he was telling me about, well, pretty much let you know now that he was a young teenager, going through life's growing pains as we all do, was pretty much disclosing to me about how he felt about how pointless life was. And, have been in that dark place before too, and it was from a relatable standpoint. But this is also the reason why I listened to what he had to say. He was like, it's no point, and life is just so pointless and whatnot and whatever. The same typical song and dance. And when I told him of what I do and why, he asked me, why do you do what you do? I was like, well, I'm a musician and I do art. And the reason why I do art is because I enjoy it. I like it. And it's a very profitable industry. I do this because that's what brings me joy out of life. It's not getting online and playing video games and talking shit to complete strangers. I may be good at fighting games or whatnot, but I play these games mostly for entertainment. Now, if I'm good enough to beat people down, then that's a whole nother story. But that I get entertainment out of that too. Even if whether or not I go to tournaments or not. And he said to me, he's like, you're the most arrogant motherfucker I've ever met, but you're also probably one of the smartest. And, I didn't really take it as a compliment or a insult, because I got what he was trying to say. And he's like, you kind of showed me the light with things. But he was telling me how he deals with certain friends online. And he told me that being online to him is like an escape. It allows him to run away from his real problems. Which begs the question, there was a point in time where when I first got on the internet, like we all did, we got so wrapped up into the idea of what all the internet could bring us, as opposed to reality. I grew up in a time where video games were actually good, not in this, this mass production age that we're in, where we get the same game all the time. And, even back then, we got a lot of very similar games or sequels of a series, but they did not play exactly the same. And if they did, they were fun enough where it wasn't a problem. It wasn't like a Call of Duty. But without digressing, I first got on the internet several years ago. It was great. Everything was great. The people I met and encountered made the experience that much more wholesome. But the year afterwards, it's like a drug. Your first hit will never be it will always be better than every other hit you get of that drug. Crack addicts and heroin addicts are the worst in this regard. And, you get so wrapped up into a fantasy that you start really turning your back on reality, especially in today's age where technology, our lives mostly revolve around technology. If we don't have some type of smartphone, we got some type of iPad or some type of OS touchscreen device, or if not a computer or a video game entertainment system in our households or whatever. This is the day and age we live in. So when you watch these movies back then, that were made back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, movies like Star Wars and Blade Runner, and just to name a few, you're starting to see that the lines between fantasy and reality are starting to blur. So as a result, when you get wrapped into that, I told him, I'm like, you can't run away from life just because you don't like the way it is. And he's like, well, I got tons of problems. I'm like, dude, we all have tons of problems, okay? You are nobody special, no offense. You're not so special to the point where, and I doubt seriously that your problems are as bad as the next person's. You can't live life expecting things to be good. You can't live life expecting things to be bad, hoping for the best, hoping for the bad. And if you're gonna hope for something, hope for the best. Because if you hope for bad shit to happen in this day and age, well, really the way life is, the probability of chance of anything bad happening for somebody that wishes and wills it are way higher than somebody who deserves the contrary. And most people, I've talked to people like this before, where they feel their online persona, the persona that they've established online, bears more importance than who they are as a person. And unfortunately, like myself at the time when this was apparent, these people mentally, they're lost. There's nothing wrong with them mentally. It's not a clinically diagnosed disease or anything. It's just they feel, well, you know, if I don't have to, as long as I have a way to not deal with my problems, it is what it is. You know, I used to play video games a lot coming home from grade school, not wanting to do my homework, mostly because if I didn't finish it before I got home, I could finish it before I go to bed. And that's the reason why these games felt so long to me. And you know, it was so wholesome because my mindset was different now. Like, if I play those same games, I'd probably blow through them, but I'll probably still have as much fun as I used to. But they were an escape for me. I enjoyed them. And if I wanted to play them now, I could still play them and still enjoy them. Take my mind off of it. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be this, you know, whereas now, like, where it's like it's work, the way games are made now. But, you know, the way these games are being made, they're trying to present it from a very realistic standpoint. Very cinematic approach, you know, Hollywood approach. They start to feel more like movies than actual games. And I think that kind of takes away from the overall enjoyment of it, because it's like they try too hard. But that's not the fault of, you know, I'm not saying that it's because of those type of games that you have people like Person A that I discussed earlier who feel that their real life bears no importance. You are somebody. You are smarter than you think you are, but you're not as dumb either. You're not as dumb as everybody expects you to be. Be humble and have a sense of humility so that you have an equilibrium. I told them that I have what is known as a shield of arrogance. And this is pretty much, you know, a lot of people, they get into the discussion of arrogance and confidence, and they think they're the same thing, and truthfully they're not. They're hand in hand. Too much of confidence can lead to arrogance, but in this world I've realized this. You have to have some air of arrogance in this world, because confidence is like emotions. You can choose to, if you want to, wear them on your sleeve. But when somebody shoots down your confidence, you got to be able to pick yourself up and get back out there. Not be down by one comment or one opinion or somebody else. You got to accept things for what they are, whether they're in your window of you liking it or not. You gotta be like, you know what, well, it didn't work, we'll try it again, and be serious about it this time, not make up excuses just to, you know, lie to yourself and believe your own lies into thinking that your efforts really aren't in vain when they really are. You got to step up to the plate in life, man. You can't be like, well, I don't feel like dealing with it, so I'm just going to run away for a little while. Because I did that for a little while, and by the time I woke up, my father passed away, which was a huge wake-up call for me. But my perspective has shifted quite a bit since then. I've grown in the past 3 or 4 years of my life, and it's, man, I'm gonna tell you, it's been a rough ride. And you know, I still have my friends online, but it ain't the way it used to be, man. I have conversations with them, and more importantly, I don't have as much time as I used to talk with all of those people. There's some cool guys out there, there's some cool girls out there, but you know, I don't do long distance relationships, and only a few of those people that I'm friends with I can really truly deeply call friends. People that I could see myself hanging out with, dealing with on a face-to-face level. It's, you know, I can't develop a friendship solely on text messages and voice messages behind a microphone or whatever. Even if it's camera, it's got to be more than just a mere mutual interest. It can't just be like, well, we play the same kind of video game, so that's our common ground. as friends. Yeah, okay, on a what's up basis, but not somebody I would call up on my phone or anything of that sort to have a heart-to-heart discussion. If you encounter me online, more than likely that's probably going to happen, but that's my nature. I don't attribute my online persona too much to be around my real persona. I try not to use my real name, but if I do, it's for significant purposes. But I feel, maybe I'm the only one that thinks this way. What are your thoughts? Or do you feel your life, your profile online, whether it be on Facebook or any type of message board or RPG that you play or whatever, do you feel that has more of a weight in your life? And I'm not trying to shoot anybody down. This is a real question. This isn't a rhetorical question, and this is a subjective argument. I would like to hear what you have to say. Post your comments below. I would actually like to hear video responses too. Show your face, man. I'm willing to look for answers to this question, because that's the way I approach it. I approach it in the manner where, like, okay, this is life, and this is the internet. You don't want to put life and the internet together too much. You only have it by, oh shit, look at me. You only have it by a little bit. Or you don't want to put this above it. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to put this above it. Okay, I have terrible props to use, but the overall point I'm trying to make here is that in order for your profile online to have any significance, your real life's got to have insignificance. Otherwise, you're deluding yourself. Or maybe I'm the one that's delusional. What are your thoughts? Au revoir. Merci tu.